Hello, and welcome to the Mead Hall for today's episode of The War Table. I'm your host Jay, and today I am joined by...
Al,
John,
and Liza.
Today we are bringing you an epic clash between the forces of the deity Legions and the Night Lords, in what proves to be a vicious engagement of traitors. Can the combined efforts of the god-aligned Legions break the unyielding assault of the Terror Legion? Let's find out together in The War Table. Karthax Theta. I can taste it on the air. The cities burn behind us. Hollow things already lost. Their screams fade quickly out here. The desert does not remember them. Only the red sun stretching without end. And the storm on the horizon. I see it. I feel it. Something festers within those ruins, something crawling its way into this world. It bleeds into the sky like a wound that refuses to close. Good. Let it grow. Let it draw them in. We descend from the void in silence, unseen as we always are. Not saviors, not allies, never that. We come to claim what is ours, to carve our place into this war, and let the weak choke on the truth of it. The sands shift beneath our advance as our warriors take their positions. Armor forward, guns raised. The skies will belong to us. Nothing enters this battlefield without my leave. But we are not alone. I can see them now, moving from the ruins, the followers of decay and change and excess, all crawling from the same corpse of a city. Amon Ket, I know his kind. Schemes within schemes, secrets beneath lies. He thinks himself hidden. He is not. Whatever he is building in this broken place, I will see it torn open. This world will bleed. It must. And when it does, it will not matter whose blood stains the sand, only that it does. The Night Lords have established their lines and have begun to bring up their anti-air weapon platforms ready to be deployed throughout the desert expanse. But as soon as they're ready to begin preparations, a line of Death Guard tanks spill from the city and roll into weapons range.
before the battle is joined, a host of mighty walkers surge forward from the Night Lord's battle line, their armor bedecked in midnight blue, rusted joints crackling under the strain of explosive movement.
It's probably worth mentioning for context, obviously. John helmed the army this time.
Yes,
Or helmed the
I
Night
was,
Lords.
what's the word? Trusted with the Night Lords,
You were.
L's Night Lords, and nothing, and no badness befell them in any way, shape, or form
No.
under
No.
my helm.
of course not.
But yeah, they make a nice line, and I think the forward deployment is one of those ones that I haven't really played around with. And I often have struggled in 40k terms with things that have either like forward deployment or scouting to use them effectively.
There's definitely a trap to them sometimes. We'll come on to that, I'm sure.
But similarly, Jamie, your deployment is your typical deployment where you go, there's only a small army on that side, and the rest is just waiting. Waiting in those damn wings.
Yeah, the vast majority of my army is off the table as per usual. But I do have quite a hefty amount of tanks on the table, so...
Yes, and I think was this a first outing for something, or was it all?
Yes, it was. It was first outing for the Scorpius missile tanks. However, spoiler alert, they don't do a whole lot, so they're not really featured much in this episode.
As with first outing tradition.
Indeed.
No. The true first outing tradition is that freshly painted model immediately gets blown off the board.
Oh yeah,
that is true.
100%.
And in fairness, they didn't get immediately blown off the board, but they didn't do a lot
No.
before they were.
No.
So,
But but if they can make it, if your freshly painted model can make it past turn 1, then I would count that as a win, because otherwise the rule is if it's freshly painted, it dies first.
that is generally the rule.
I still hold the trauma over a different game where just watching something immediately get killed, I was like, oh no.
I've had that experience many times.
Yeah.
I think we all have at one point, definitely.
Yeah.
The thing with that one was, it wasn't that it was shot off the board. It was Mordheim, and I fell off a roof and immediately died.
Brilliant.
And it was a Skaven that I'd pumped a load of money into, and I was like, well, that's my entire team bankrupt.
Don't put all your eggs in one
Excellent.
basket.
I have learned that. Maybe.
We'll see, won't we?
We'll see.
Right, let's move on to the battle itself, shall we? Engines roar as the skies crack with lightning, though these are no natural storms. Warp-born energies bathe the battlefield with an eerie blue glow, and moments later, the silence is shattered by the thunder of cannon fire. End of movement phase there, so we've got a couple of little shots we can have a look at. So there's only a few key little moments that kind of spring up in this first round, as you can kind of see here.
Mhm.
It's also worth noting that this angle of shot that we've got for the battle, it will change during this episode and going forward as I realise that maybe a camera angle might be a little bit better.
It's work in progress. It's always adapting, always evolving.
Oh yes, I think you'll see a few changes over the next couple of episodes as I start to refine how we're going to do this. So please bear with me and with the team. We will get there.
Constantly getting better.
Yes. Shall we have a little zoom in at what actually took place?
Yeah.
So let's go into focus point 1.
As the engagement begins, the Night Lord's Predator tanks unleash a devastating opening salvo, destroying a World Eater Spartan in a violent explosion, many of its embarked warriors lost in the blast. So, yeah, this was 3 Predators that shot out a single Spartan.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
You were also not happy either.
I don't have many World Eaters in this army, so the few that I have, I like to do something with.
If I recall, I think you actually might have stomped your foot as well, like a petulant child.
I mean, I can confirm that I didn't, but if you want to imagine that, we can imagine that. It's fine. It wouldn't be. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it definitely didn't happen that day.
The first turn.
I think we were both as surprised as each other. Like, the Predators, they're good. They've got the las cannons on the top, and they've got accurates. They get their rerolls. Like, even with the AP that they had, you were still saving on a 3. I'm pretty sure. Or was it?
Yes, I was saving on a 3, and I was in cover. So the fact that your 3 las cannons managed to get through all of that and still take out an entire Spartan was very surprising.
Pretty impressive.
Which then leads into the awkward moment where the rest of that unit is still in that Spartan.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of it for you, I think, was the fact that then, the rest of the unit's still in that Spartan. They now either all have to get out and then the Spartan rolls around, or they just get stuck there.
Yeah, I also I lost a couple of bases in there as well, which is very sad.
But not all of them, which I think was possibly even more irritating because some of them survived. Because if they'd all gone in the explosion, then you could just roll the single tank up.
It's true, although I have to say having the extra numbers was helpful later, so I won't complain too much about that.
This is a good moment for the Night Lords here. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
Let's see what happens next in part 2.
The armoured might of the Death Guard is focused on the impending knights. Massed rounds of cannons and beams of las weapons hammer into the wooded cover, splintering trees and armour alike, both reduced to ash under the relentless barrage.
Yeah, so I kind of shot you back.
Yeah, I feel like there was an exchange. I don't think it was an equivalent exchange.
Well, no, because I had twice as many. Well, yes, I had twice as many predators overall anyway, and this does also include some fell blades as well, which you did not have access to. The woodland in this game did not fare well, shall we say?
Yeah. We're not going to be currying any favors with Greenpeace in this game.
Definitely not. It was quite scary watching a bunch of knights just rock up that close to your side of the table that early, so they kind of had to go.
They were an unfortunate, very big target, and there wasn't really anywhere at the time where I could have put them. At least I don't think there was anywhere else I could have put them. I'm sure Jamie would disagree and be like, yes, if you'd done this.
I mean, there are things you could do probably, but who knows?
They were a good, scary threat.
They were definitely a good, scary threat, and they did their job. They threatened. They scared, but then they died.
They very much died. They did kind of nothing else other than blah, and they're dead.
Okay, so I think we're going to move over to a different section of the battlefield now.
On the eastern flank, Crimson Stormbird screams into action in a rapid assault, landing its mighty ramps unfurled as a team of powerful Saturnine dreadnoughts march out into the firestorm, their weapons igniting as knights and predators explode under the sudden assault.
Okay, so slight correction. Same part of the battlefield, just a bit further over.
Just a bit further over, and those damn Saturnine.
Yes, I did a very cautious, shall we say, deployment of a Stormbird, dropped a load of stuff out right on your flank. The combined firepower did a lot of damage. My Stormbirds performed well.
Yes, your Stormbirds perform. Yeah, your Storm. Well, with one exception, which is a recurring element with our Stormbird. Those missiles, I don't think I've ever seen them hit anything.
No, I don't think they have.
Just every game I've ever played, and that you've brought on the Stormbird, you're like, I'm going to fire everything, and you go, and I've got to the missiles, and I miss.
It's the one quirk of the game that I find quite interesting. It's the fact that so many things hit on 4s. Like unlike 40k, where most things are average at 3, so you're probably likely to hit with most things in the game. But Legion seems to be the opposite. Like everything is 4 or higher until you're starting to pay ridiculous points for models like Titans. Most things don't hit very well.
There's a lot of things where you just don't get a save as well, which I suppose lends into that element of once something gets hit, it is hit.
It's an interesting one. It's very swingy in a lot of ways, but it can be quite devastating.
I think it does kind of make sense with the up in scale. It does make sense that things are more suppressing fire across a battlefield.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Sadly, the Stormbird's missiles don't seem to do very well against John.
Trust me, with the amount of damage that you then output, I don't think it was a problem.
No, I did quite well regardless of the missiles.
Although, was it this moment, or was it the other set of knights where we had the realization that actually the knights are way better than we thought they were?
Yeah, it's I think later down in this section, or maybe next turn. But yeah, there's a lovely little scene for the armatures later. Let's go over. So we are going over to the other side of the table now.
On the far western flank, another Stormbird delivers its deadly cargo, as the Thousand Suns Sorcerer orders his warriors to split Ceramite with a fusillade of searing plasma fire.
Another cheeky deployment.
Yeah, this is nasty.
Such a cheeky deployment. Literally in the rear.
I mean, what's the point in having a big flyer if you don't take advantage of it?
I know, but it hurt. It hurt so bad.
In fairness, though, I fired all of that and only killed one Land Raider, and the Land Raider was empty.
Yes, that was. Oh, yes, because I had one single one that was left that was empty. Those Land Raiders had a bad time there, but
I would say
it was a lot of shots into it.
I'd say they had a very good time. I couldn't even kill the damn things.
That is yes.
Like
at this moment in time,
they tanked a lot of damage.
They did tank a sizable chunk of with everything going into and in the rear arc, which is one of those moments where it's like plasma is actually doing quite a lot when you get somebody in the rear arc.
But not this day.
Well, not this day.
Okay, so there is one final thing to look at that was of interest in this first round.
Sakaran tanks forming the rear guard take an opportunistic shot with their las cannons, scoring a direct hit against one of the Saturnine dreadnoughts, its hollow chassis locking in place as if frozen in time.
I was so pissed off by this. You had one Sakaran with one las cannon shot. Oh no, two, sorry. You had 2 shots, I had 2 wounds, you scored both, I failed both, you killed my Sathmine Dreadnought. I was not happy.
And it's not even like, because it's Sakarans, it wasn't even their main weapon.
No.
It was just the things that were on the side, being like, I've got nothing else to shoot at. Oh, you know what, I'll just throw a couple of rounds then. You're like, yeah, there's not going to, I wouldn't even bother, worrying about the roll for the save, because you're not going to hit, oh no, you've hit both. Oh no, I failed both saves.
I might blink off a wound too. I've killed a Dreadnought.
Yeah.
I've killed the Dreadnought.
And I'll also point out as well, you actually you caused a morale failure on that Dreadnought, the remaining Dreadnought as well, so he fell back a little bit.
Yes, I forgot about that as well.
Yeah. Thankfully he did rally straight away, but that was a stressful moment.
There was definitely a moment where you're like, is this guy just going to run away because his mate's been exploded next to him?
He's traumatized.
He's like, wait a second, where did that shot come from?
I'm out of here.
It was an impressive shot, to say the least. Overall, then, when it comes to the first round, it wasn't overly energetic, shall we say, but there was definitely a full frontal movement from the Night Lord side. Was that predominantly because the Knights were heavily committed immediately?
I mean, yes, basically. Like, the forward deployment on the Knights was like, okay, I now need to get some things up there to give them reinforcements. This was also, and I think there was some movement that was kind of taking place, but it wasn't a particularly interesting focus. Was when the Knights exploded, they were basically meant to be a bit of a shield for the squad of Vindicators that were coming up the side as well. And when those Knights exploded, I was like, oh no, I definitely need to start getting some stuff moving up there. This is going back to that thing I said at the beginning. The forward movement, or the stuff that has scouting, I'm like, I should probably use this, but I don't know how. Or at least to use it very well.
I think it did end up being a little bit of a trap in this scenario, because it's quite open in no man's land, so you basically were just running straight into guns.
The Night Lords were maybe channeling a little bit of the. I was gonna make reference by numbered legions, but now I've skipped my mind.
13th.
The 13th World Eaters.
Pretty sure it's 13th. Oh no, that's Ultramarines, isn't it? 12th, I think.
I'm sure you are correct, and if you're not, I'm sure the comments will correct us.
I'm sure. I'm 90% sure it's either the 10th or the 12th, but I'm pretty sure the 10th is actually Iron Hands. I mean, we could go in a tangent here, because I'm pretty sure I can get most of them right. But let's not do that. We'll be here all day.
But yes, the point being is, I was gunning for it. There was some good melee in the list, so I was like, okay, let's get up close, let's start causing some damage, and if I can, because I was the attacker in this particular mission, I was going for the attack, and I may have overcommitted my attack.
It was what I would call an unrestrained attack. You kind of had some things pushed out too far behind their support, so I was able to get in behind them with the flyers very comfortably without much threat, and that probably was the key issue, I would imagine. I basically was able to isolate the Knights and take them out, which, not going to lie, is quite a lot of points worth of loss, especially that early on. But it's not game over just yet. One could say the game's only just begun.
One could say the game's only just begun. I mean, it literally is the first mission. Well, not the first mission, the first battle round.
It is indeed.
I wonder how the other battle rounds will fare.
Could be interesting. But at the end of the round, the actual scores for our scoring system is actually neck and neck practically. I mean, you're technically a point ahead of me.
Yeah, they were close.
We'll see if they stay close. Let's head over to round 3. Yeah, round 2, sorry. Unable to restrain his warriors, Curze commits fully to the fray. With his knights rent and his forces overextended, he must regain momentum. But Aemon Ket is prepared. So we've got a slightly different angle here now, so I've kind of learned a little bit, I think, where this might be a slightly better angle to take pictures at. There's a lot that happens in this round, and as you can see, the table is suddenly full.
There's a lot of purple.
There's a lot of blue as well in the centre there. We literally went from like a really tight board with nothing on it to all of a sudden it packed
You basically just play in waves, don't you?
I mean, I
Yeah,
certainly do.
it is a wave. It is yeah. You know what? Actually, that's a fair assessment of Jamie's play style. You just have to deal with the waves of enemies. You're like,
Yeah.
are they all done? No, there's another one coming. Oh God!
I'm 90% sure at this point, though, I did actually deploy everything. There might be a couple a unit of Terminators or two hidden somewhere. But yeah, I think most of my army did deploy in turn 2. So let's find out what actually happened, because as you can see, there's a lot to cover here, so we're going to start zooming in straight away, I think. Let's go and have a look at point 1.
As the Death Guard armoured column levels its barrels and unleashes a salvo into the oncoming night. From their flank, the Night Haunter descends. The Primarch tears into the Kratos like a force of nature, leaving nothing but shredded metal and gore strewn across the battlefield. So yeah, the Curze busted out of the Mastodon, or the pair of Mastodons that had run up the centre of the board. And it was kind of a case of, it's either do something now or run the risk of him exploding inside of the Mastodon. And I was like, well, go get those Kratoses.
I mean, I think there's two very important things to point out here. This is the debut of Primarchs on the channel for NI. So we've got a collection of Primarchs between us, and quite a few more on the way for 8 mil scale. That we have played, obviously, and play tested custom rules and whatnot, but this is the first time you guys will be seeing him actively on the table. And needless to say, it is very cool.
The rules that you have come up with for the Primarchs makes them feel like Primarchs. I cannot fault the rules that have been written for them. They do feel like Primarchs, which is terrifying and also somewhat intoxicating. You just kind of want to throw them at things because you know whatever they touch is going to explode, which isn't necessarily a good option.
Not always. In fact, it is probably worth noting as well. It's not included as a key focus of this, but the reason why the Curze is over here at the moment, it's not where you wanted to be, was it?
No.
That's because I actually used my Emperor's Children drop pods when they struck down as a way to basically body block the Mastodon from going where it wanted to go. So I was able to basically direct Curze away from where I wanted him. So yes, losing the Kratos here is not an amazing thing, but it was a lot better than the other things he could have been killing.
And there were many things that I wished he could have been killing, and that opportunity was not afforded to me, not today.
But he does his Primarch thing. He lands into a tank and he kills it.
Yep.
But again,
and his accompanying also similarly custom unit.
Night Raptors.
Thank you. I should have just asked you straight away, shouldn't I?
I mean,
they're yours.
I mean, I was waiting for you to give us a little monologue as you usually do.
You want me? Oh no! I mean, I can if you want me to.
No. Let's try and keep this pace well.
Yeah. Those are Night Raptors. Yeah, they are Konrad's like personal little band of dudes.
They came pouring out of that Mastodon.
It's quite a scary amount of jump pack Marines.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. There's 8 bases of them, so
pretty vicious, but not exactly the best suited at killing tanks. But they managed to kill the ones they were in contact with. That's the main thing. Okay, so let's move over to another section of the battlefield.
A horde of World Eaters berserkers thunder through the trees and leap upon a group of speeding Vindicators. Before the vehicles had a chance to react, chain blades were biting into armour, and the screams of bloodlust echoed through the woods.
I think you can see by John's reaction he's not overly happy by that turn of events. So you know those World Eaters that jumped out of the Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, they were always going to jump out of the Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
You might have blown one of them up and made it a little bit more difficult, but it didn't stop them.
It really did not stop them, and those Vindicators.
every single time.
I think
I hate to see them go. It hurts so much. Even when I'm not playing, it's just like...
As the team know now, the Vindicators scare me, so as soon as they're on the table, I already have like a 5-point plan of how to get rid of them before they shoot.
Backup plans upon backup plans.
I think part of the issue as well was, and this is something like musing on post-game, was they were in a big block. I think a couple of units of them probably would have served a little better in terms of managing them a bit more easily.
Definitely has potential to split them up. They are very hard to use in terms of vehicles, just because of the range and the threat level. They are a very attractive target for your opponent. They're not the most durable, but they do hit hard, so they are almost the definition of a glass cannon.
I think they only have I think it's like a 12-inch range, so you have to take the risk of getting them up the board. But then, if you're playing against Jamie, he looks at them and goes, they scare me, and then they die.
It is worth pointing out, you guys all know now that I fear them, so I will target them. You can use that to your advantage, obviously.
It's almost like you want one of them tank carrier flyers to bring them in.
I know you've been moaning at me to print one of those at some point.
The old, what they call it's like a variation of a Thunderhawk, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't even know because it was Epic only, wasn't it? I don't think it's ever.
I think so.
It's never really featured anywhere else, as far as I'm aware.
Sorry, just the idea of being rocking up to that with a game, be like, here's my Thunderhawk that's transporting 6 rhinos underneath it.
6 Vindicators underneath it.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is, it would have been that you could have taken it as Vindicators as well. Do you think you can get firing deck on that one? Just bank the Thunderhawk and just shoot the Vindicators down from it.
You just put them in upside down.
Stop giving him ideas!
I mean, at that point, you might as well just make a Thunderhawk with Demolisher cannons in it.
No, because once they're done, you just drop them.
Upside down?
And then you can speed away.
Crazy things you people come up with.
This is why we're not allowed to come up with our own units.
Yeah,
this is why I write the rules.
This is exactly why we're banned from being able to write our own stuff.
You lot can't be trusted. There'll be Thunderhawks with knights strapped to them.
You're not discouraging us here. You're merely making it more tempting.
Right, let's move over to the next phase.
Shaking and enraged, the World Eater's Praetor charges wildly into a group of Sicarian battle tanks, still drenched in their allies' blood. Unhindered by grief or even a sense of humanity, the World Eaters pry open the tanks, make mincemeat of the crew.
Ouch.
Yeah,
that's not great.
I don't think I even shot with them. That's the worst. No, I did, and they missed every shot, as is the way of the Plasma Sicarans.
Yeah, you lot never had any success with them, but I've always thought they're quite good.
I don't know. I like them a lot, but I feel like I always misuse them, so I don't think I got anything really that is...
Oh no! I think it's just personally a me thing. Like every time I've ever taken them, I've just seen them explode before they actually shoot anything.
Again, they're a close range, high damage tank, so they're quite nice targets for your opponent. And so, unless you are lucky with positioning or deployment or whatever, they're not the easiest vehicles to use.
And unlike in a callback to our previous game, these tanks, unlike the turrets, do not know kung fu.
No, they do not. Also, they're up against World Eaters this time, which is a little bit different anyway. They are also berserking World Eaters as well, so they are literally going hell for leather.
Yes, and they did. They did do that very efficiently.
Right, let's move on to the next section. We've got much more to go through in this round.
Steel rain falls across the battlefield as the Emperor's children commit in force. Drop pods slam into the desert, a small force landing in no man's land as a distraction, while their Praetor and Dreadnoughts strike deep into the Night Lord's rear guard.
Yes, this was the thing of deep strikes, and all of the deep strikes happening, and they all went perfectly. Nobody fluffed a roll.
John, what happened to your missiles?
They had a very crucial place they needed to be. Apparently, that place was inside of the terrain.
Yeah, so I affectionately call those things the plateaus, and it was literally like you were just inside it. Yeah, sadly, some Night Lords drop pods did misfire and smash into the terrain.
It was painful because I don't know. I love those missiles, and they're really handy to have because they do tend to blow stuff up, and then they just went, nope, bye, and fell off the face of the earth. So
what I was trying to avoid saying is that she has never actually missed a deep strike to date.
I wasn't even going to mention that, but yes, that was exactly why it was painful.
I feel the rest of my deep strikes went very well. I just really messed up that one.
Spoilers?
In this round, there were other deep strikes.
There were a couple more deep strikes. In fact, you can kind of see, just off in the distance there, we've got some Night Lord pods in the tree line. That poor tree line that has already had multiple knights blowing up inside of it. But yes, the Emperor's Children have done their thing. Actually, most of those drop pods in the centre there were just to sort of corral Curze in the wrong direction, which worked.
And corral they did. Oh, corral they did.
And then the rest of the drop pods all in your back line, because that was completely exposed at this point. That will bite you in the quite literal ass, this game. Speaking of which...
Dreadnoughts begin to purge the Night Lord's rear armour. Las cannons and assault weapons tearing through vehicles from behind, leaving wreckage in their wake.
Yeah, so those are Sakarans that annoyed me by killing a Satellite Dreadnought.
Yeah, they paid the price.
They regretted that decision.
I don't think I had much that in my head I could leave in the back line, hence why the back line ended up being quite so exposed, because I was like, I'm going to commit to going forward to try and take your area. But I think commitment may have been... overcommitment.
Definitely an element of overcommitting to a point. It was because it was a staged overcommitment. If it was all one big wave, I would have had to have dealt with it. But because it was kind of coming in piecemeal, I could kind of just pick my spots and land where I wanted and take out bits and pieces here and there. Which is, again, one of the traps of the Vanguard deployment is you just plough forward. Well, actually, you're now 2 moves ahead of the rest of your army because you move again, don't you? It becomes quite significant, that movement, and that gives me a lot of opportunities to gain. The backline's not going amazingly well at the moment.
In a mirrored manoeuvre, both Night Lords and World Eaters Terminators teleport into opposing deployment zones. Neither side content to defend, both driving deeper into the enemy's lines.
Literally just swap sides a little bit.
It's not a little bit. I think in particular, this was one where I was trying to bait out activations, and I just ran out of things I could activate before you dropped those. Because I had jump assaults that were just waiting on the back. They were there, and then finally I went, okay, I've run out of things that I can activate. I have to activate them. And it was, I think, I literally activated them. And you're like, cool, here's the Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, in this case, it was the World Eaters Terminators.
Sorry, Terminators,
Yeah.
I meant Terminators. But yeah, it was just like,
Yeah, I was able to drop them. there, and they were just shot into that terrain and killed off a couple of bases, I think, which we didn't get pictures of, sadly. So that meant that I was now fully inside your deployment zone. Very little resistance now to stop me from basically wiping everything out. This was quite a vicious round.
a lot of things died. A lot of things on one side died, maybe more than the other.
Not to, I should say, kick him out when he's down, but
Back on the eastern flank, the Emperor's Children bring their deadly sonic weapons to bear on the Night Lords. And for once, it is the Night Lord's screams that echo across the battlefield, as their minds and bodies are torn apart by the relentless sonic barrage.
the couple of units you've left on that back line didn't last very long.
No, Noise Marine's bad. Noise Marine's bad for people's health.
Another custom unit with custom rules. A golden opportunity there for a little infantry squad just to take that back line. Couldn't resist it. Let's go and see what's happening in the centre of the table.
As the screams carry over the sands and the dust settles, in the centre, the World Eaters stand over the wrecks of the Sakarans, only to be spotted by the advancing armigers, which open fire and bathe the area in high-caliber rounds. Fragments of armour and shattered Astartes' bodies rain down across the wreckage like a perverse storm.
I mean, these armatures are very good.
They're very good at dealing with infantry.
They're very good at dealing with infantry. And they can do some surprising amount of damage to vehicles as well. Yeah, these armatures in particular were ones that I wasn't overly a fan of with the first iteration of the rules, but ever since they updated them in the Liber Strategia, they've become very good now.
They've had quite the glow up, I think, is fair to say.
The Knights went from being fun but not very effective to actually being quite good now.
I think it was a combination of they have they're 3 shots each now, and they hit on 3s. 4s still. Yes, they're 4 still. Oh no, it's a save, wasn't it? It was the Iron Shield save.
The Iron Shield, not particularly relevant on the armatures, but the Iron Shields are a lot better than they used to be.
Yes, the armatures are just better overall.
Because they were 160 or 180 points for 3 of them before. and they had 2 shots hitting on 5s. They're 120 points now, with 3 shots hitting on 4s. Now, it was a huge swing. Worth their points now. We like to see them. We like to see them doing good, and you can't see the absolute fine details necessarily on these ones, but I'm quite proud of the Night Lord painted knights. They are.
Oh yeah, they look amazing.
They're gorgeous, yeah.
They look cool, so they should feel cool as well. That is it for that round, so to speak. As you can see, the score is starting to slip away from you a little bit, but the real question is, how do you feel about Curze and how he's been used in this round?
I had a plan for Curze. I think, unfortunately, it was a bit more of an obvious plan than. I mean, it was always going to be obvious when you're dealing with the fact that it was Curze in a mastodon rolling up the center of the board, which kind of, in my mind, made the most sense of just to get this thing up the board as quick as possible, get its troops out, and get them in your lines. They just ended up being just turned away. Just ablative drop pods were used very efficiently, but definitely forced my hand in a particular direction in terms of where then Curze ended up running off to.
Yeah, if you'd been allowed free reign of Curze, I think this game might have gone slightly differently.
But if I was allowed free reign of Curze, I think you would have been playing wrong.
Both sides are being very aggressive this game.
Yes.
You obviously, it's very obvious that you charge your army at the table being very aggressive, but then equally, I'm also completely on your side of the board with half my army at this point. Neither of us are being defensive at all.
No, it was a mission of absolute aggression this time, apparently.
And the real question is, did you find it chaotic to play in that scenario? Because it looks chaotic, like the board when we saw it at the beginning there with the post-movement phase. Obviously there's so much on the table, and you've got, obviously it's because of the nature of the armies, they're quite colourful, so you've got all these colours everywhere. You can kind of see from a glance very easily that there's a lot of stuff all over the place. How did you find that?
Oh, I mean, I think this is very much an issue with me. Is I think in particular in that game, I was playing very reactively rather than proactively. I was like, I'm going to do this thing, and then just kind of react accordingly, rather than having the forethought and planning that I probably needed to have going throughout it. I think it was very much a case of I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to figure out what that attacking actually looks like.
Yeah.
and I'm imagining that probably played quite nicely for you.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I mean, by the nature of having most of my army, in some form of transport, deep strike capability, I had the perfect reactionary army, whereas yours was meant for hyper-aggression. Could go super hyper-aggressive or sort of a staged aggression. You didn't really have the right composition of units for reactionary gameplay, which, meant that when you were making your actions, I was able to just pivot and change, basically on the head of a pin.
Ah, well.
It is what it is. We learn from mistakes. So, shall we see if you learned by turn 3? As Curze and his warriors continue their rampage through the Death Guard lines, Amonkhet's trap is sprung. While the Death Guard hold firm, the combined might of the Emperor's children and Thousand Sons closes in, encircling the Night Lords and preparing a deadly crossfire. There was more. As you can kind of see, it's very focused along the centre line, but also there is a lot going on in my deployment zone.
Yeah, your deployment zone was a bit of a party.
My deployment zone was the party. And you can't say that Nurgle is not a good host.
There's a lot of garden parties.
Yes, despite things dying everywhere, the board is still looking rather chaotic.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say the most tactical of manoeuvres on one side, but there were definitely manoeuvres.
I'm sure there was tactics behind them.
There was thoughts behind them, surely.
I mean, there definitely was thoughts behind them. I was timing you. Okay, let's go in and have a look at actually what happened, shall we?
More steel rains from the sky, but this time clad in midnight. Night Lord's drop pods crash into the Death Guard lines, disgorging terror troops directly into the heart of the fighting.
Risky deep strikes.
I believe I said this as, I either make this deep strike or I lose. And this was a deep strike that was basically I'm going to go off the board if I even slightly misjudge this, if I even slightly misroll it, and I think I landed it exactly where it needed to be.
Channeled L's power of scatter dice, and I'm pretty sure you rolled the bullseye on that one.
Yep, just landed on it.
But there's also another one further down the table as well, which is in that little box there. Some infantry parts that also dropped into my backline. Very precarious in their terrain and board edges.
Yep.
But, it paid off for you this time. And, it kept you in the game.
It kept me in the game. It did keep me in the game. Just thinking on it now, I think I remember these the dreadnoughts that I did it, and then a little while afterwards, I was like, I deployed the wrong dreadnoughts in the wrong places, and basically just had them completely the wrong way around. Because I'm pretty sure these ones with the las cannons and the ones with the assault cannons ended up somewhere else, and I was like, I have messed up here big time because I put the wrong units in the wrong places.
But nevertheless, they're in the backline. They potentially are scoring points here, taking away some of the momentum that I might be able to build up. So let's see how that actually played out.
The Night Lord's Kratos battle tanks unleash a devastating salvo into the Death Guard's predators, pulverizing armor and shattering what little cohesion remains.
You fired your Kratos and you actually wiped out half my predators there, which then incidentally ran away.
Yeah, managed to actually cause some fear.
In true Night Lords fashion.
In true Night Lords fashion.
Although I would
Blowing
say
things up with tanks.
maybe not true Night Lords fashion.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But yeah, it definitely causes some concerns when they're like, oh.
Yeah, so the Kratos did the thing. They blew some stuff up. Hey, they did their job.
They did their job.
Unlike my one that just died.
Yeah. They got spooked. They were right guns actually. They're quite like the Kratoses. I think there was definitely a moment where I was tossing up between like, oh, do I fire at the Predators? Do I fire at the Fellblades? And I was like, no, those Fellblades have got really big guns.
Yeah. Fellblades are nasty.
They can be, unless you piss off a War Master Titan.
Yeah. How did that go off for you?
Not very well.
They did better this time. There wasn't a War Master Titan on the field. There is an Armiger bravely trying to hack his way in, though.
Yeah, there is. It does not do him much favors. You'll be pleasantly surprised in the final round what happens to my Fellblades. Because you weren't there for that bit, but that's a little teaser for later. So let's move on to the next stage.
Amon Ket takes the field, materializing at the heart of the battlefield alongside his elite Saturnine Terminators. As they arrive, they waste no time, annihilating everything around them. Infantry or armor, it matters not.
I love Saturnine. That's so cool.
I didn't love Saturnine this day. I think I've only been on the receiving end of Saturnine thus far, and every time I've been on the receiving end of Saturnine, they've hurt me every time.
I mean, yeah, to a point. You did wipe out an entire unit before I got to shoot them in the first game.
But that's because they're scary.
That is true. Yes, no, they are very cool. They're 2 wound infantry that can deep strike in a specific formation,
which is kind of huge.
Yeah, they're very tasty, and they just look epic as well.
They do look very, very cool.
I know.
Yeah, they did their thing. They landed down without really any concern about the deep strike for them, because they just kind of had all of the space.
It was a nice open area right in the middle of the table that was left perfectly free, just behind those Kratos as well, which is just exactly where you want to be when you want to shoot a tank. So they made an explosive entrance, I would say.
Yeah, I would. I'd be inclined to agree that they did make an explosive entrance as I watched everything explode.
What else happens during this round? Shall we have a look?
The low-flying Stormbird on the southern front drops off its payload, and before taking back to the skies, unleashing a torrent of fire into Curze and his warriors. The sudden barrage catches several Night Raptors off guard, their bodies torn apart by explosive rounds.
Off shot as well, the Stormbird also snipes out that Armiger that happens to be attacking the Fellblade.
It was so rude.
See what I mean about waves? There's still more coming in.
I mean, in fairness, this is a redeploy, because it drops off the Saturnine Dreadnoughts from the round 1, it picked them back up in turn 2 and brings them over here in turn
I reiterate, it still feels like waves. Okay, you can try and tell me it's not. You can keep telling me that, but it
Technically,
still
it's not.
feels like it. Okay.
And the Terminators also came in this round, so...
Yep, in a different area. I get what you're saying, but technically it's a redeployment.
Just saying how it feels. Okay.
But yes, I do love my Stormbirds. They're very cool.
Stormbirds, yep, and just heavy bolt of fire, just tore them apart.
I mean, they're not actually as in theory, they're not as deadly as a Thunderhawk as per the rules I've read. But it's
no, because the Thunderhawk has the big the cannon,
volcano cannon. I think is it a volcano cannon or is it a turbo laser? Well, yeah. So in theory, that's slightly stronger in terms of punching power. But the Stormbird's obviously got far greater durability, higher transport capacity. Naturally, which is why I like them. But I definitely want to see some Thunderhawks at some point. Do you have them?
Yeah, I've got 2.
Are they in that box that I've got to paint?
Maybe. Oh no, there's one in that box actually. There's one in that box.
Okay.
Because the other one I finished painting before I changed my colours. And I'm not stripping it down.
Why not?
Because I spent ages doing hazard stripes.
No. Well, why don't you just redo everything apart from the hazard stripes? It's just personal flair on that one. Just saying. Right, okay. Let's move on before John has more anxiety about painting stripes.
Yeah. The woods burn, the earth charred and broken, yet the battle in the centre does not abate. Even as the Night Lords attempt to deploy their assets, the relentless advance, the Emperor's children, crashes into their lines.
More deep striking from me again.
I think it's also worth just noting that little turret there was part of the assets the Night Lords were trying to deploy onto the field. That isn't a actual unit. There isn't actual turret unit there.
Yes, no, it's
Tarantula. That's what.
It's a marker essentially for the mission that we've got. So again, custom rules, custom missions. We will post them up at some point in time, so you can have a look at them. But yes, the Emperor's children are very much taking over the centre of the table, or at least trying to.
Yep. I think the Night Lords were literally encircled by this stage.
I think by the end of this turn, they are quite literally encircled.
I don't think there's been many fights that have been won whilst your entire army is encircled. Not without some strong external force breaking that circle.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any I can think of in history, but I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head right now.
No, I'm thinking. There's Game of Thrones, but even that was an external force coming to save.
Yeah, in lap terms, you're death donutted.
I've not heard
Yes,
that one.
I have entered into the death donut. I'm keeping that one. I like that. The death donut.
The death donut. Well, let's go and have a look and see if there's any more donuts around.
The Ninth Haunter goes about his bloody work, pulling Death Guard warriors limb from limb. The blessing of Nurgle dulls the pain, but offers no protection from Curze's fury.
I mean, he's starting to get where he wants to be.
It just took a really, really long time.
Really long time on foot.
It was a slog. It was an absolute foot slog.
But, of course, they absolutely eviscerate my infantry.
Yeah. Yeah, Feel No Pain didn't save you that day.
No, I mean, technically I can't take Feel No Pain during combat anyway, which is a shame.
Oh, yeah.
Would have been nice if that wasn't an option. But yes, no, the Death Guard infantry are starting to waver a little bit. We're starting to lose quite a bit. It's fine, it's all part of the game plan. Speaking of which, more things that happened that I wasn't anticipating.
The elite Konrad Terminators find their opening, crashing into Gorath Blightfather. His wounds barely healed from the last battle. This time, there is no survival. The Konrad tear through the Death Guard, reducing them to ruined fragments of ceramite and flesh. The Lord of the Death Guard will not rise again.
So narratively, the Praetor of the Death Guard has fallen. I can't imagine the Konrad leave much to repair.
No, I imagine they probably, they're just with those.
Yeah, I just get the impression that they're almost world eatery in the sense that they just don't stop cutting until there's not much left.
Maybe it's more like from an irritation perspective. The Night Lords they want their new they want their new capes and everything. You get to Death Guard, it just falls apart. You're just really disappointed by the quality of the goods
Really
after a Death Guard.
Yeah, they don't make good flaying subjects, I suppose, do they?
They just don't make good flaying subjects.
Just come apart in one piece, like satisfyingly at all.
Well, no, it kind of just sloths off on its own, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no skill to it. They just literally just peel it off. It's a good thing we're not doing animation, isn't it? Because otherwise this would be a rated 18 at this point.
It wouldn't be good. Yes, the Night Lords, the Night Lords elite melee Terminators got into melee and did what elite melee Terminators would do.
Yes. The Death Guard did not stand a chance. Even the Death Lord Praetor there just died. Oh well. I was hoping he might last a little bit longer. We could have turned him into a little character at some point, but yeah, so he's gone. Guess we'll just have to promote a new guy.
I was going to say someone else is going to fill those boots.
Oh yes. It's fine. We'll figure it out. It's all good. Let's find out how we're going to finish the roundup.
As the chaos of battle consumes the southern front, the north is left completely exposed. The combined forces of the World Eaters and Thousand Sons sweep through the Night Lord's rear, removing all opposition. The Night Lords are now surrounded, trapped on all sides by the servants of the Dark Gods.
You're quite literally surrounded at this point. You've lost your backline completely now, and you're struggling to even take the my deployment zone. And I particularly like this shot because just as the Thousand Sons infantry will pile out the storm, but they just occupy this plateau. It just looks very epic.
It did look very epic because they just piled out of that Stormbird and just straight onto the plateau.
But you made a very clever little move there by utilising the disadvantage of my custom rules for World Eaters.
I made you charge my bravest unit of Assault Marines.
Yeah, so I've got a custom rule called Rampage, essentially, where particularly with the World Eaters, they can activate it at will. Once you rampage, you get extra CAF, but you can no longer pick your targets. You must always charge towards the nearest target. Or if you're not within range to charge, you must march towards the nearest eligible target. So in this case, obviously, you just jumped your jump packs just on the other side away from the objective marker, so that they would have to charge this one tiny little base.
They had a terrible time.
They gave their lives for the cause.
Bravely gave their lives to try and keep that objective out of your hands, or at least make you commit something else to that objective.
Yeah. I'd imagine they were very disappointed when they realised as they were getting hacked to bits that the Thousand Sons just took it anyway.
Just look, just as they're going down, just looking over those World Eaters and just seeing the Thousand Sons descend onto that plateau that they just tried to defend and be like, oh no.
That sacrifice was in vain. But hey ho. I mean, they're loyal set. Oh wait, no,
they're something.
They are something. They don't really serve anybody. Not the Chaos Gods, not the Emperor. I'm not even sure what they're doing. As we can see by the scores, we are hammering away just a little bit.
Yeah, this wasn't quite the tight game that it has been in the past.
Indeed. So, this round very much kind of narratively felt like a trap was being sprung. That's kind of how we've written the narrative for it. The reality is, obviously, I'm the one springing the trap. Was it the plan? Going into the game, no. As soon as those knights ploughed forward and you just carried that through on turn one, I was like, yeah, this is trap scenario. Especially with the composition of the army I had. I think that was basically going to happen.
I was played like a fiddle.
With that in mind, then, was obviously the overcommitment to the charge potentially where you think things started to go wrong?
Probably. I think it was probably a mistake from turn one, honestly. Yeah, there was overcommitment and not enough to, as you said, you could just kind of just take apart the forces piecemeal, whereas what I really needed was, if I was going to do that, is have enough to, break through the backline and essentially do what you did to me, but on your end. And all that happened is that I just hit a wall, and then you just put the rest of the wall behind me. And then they had a wonderful little kill box.
In terms of recording this game, we had to let John go home at some point during the day. We tried to restrain him, but he's bigger than both of us, so he kind of just pushed us out of the way. So Els had to take over and help her own army for round 4. But I did want to ask John how you felt at the end of round
3. I felt awful. I was tired. I'll be honest, I was a little grumpy. I was a little hungry.
A little grumpy.
Yeah,
Just
I was
just a little.
just a little grumpy. Like I think it was very much a like not grumpy at the fact that I was grumpy at the fact that I was losing, but because I was like, I've just been an idiot about this. Like that was far more of where it was coming from.
I
being
have
salty
never
about the
Repeat your
game.
own mistakes.
I have never seen you grumpy ever. It was an eye-opening experience.
I was not in a. It was not a good headspace from that point on. And I was like, I think the if I had to have stayed for a fourth round, I don't think it would have been a good fourth round. It was already not a good third round. The fourth round would have been probably the breaking point.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if my fourth round was any better, to be honest. So we'll see.
You didn't have the emotional burden that John did.
That is true. Although I had the emotional trauma of watching it happen.
Yeah, I can only apologise that my playstyle is that frustrating.
You're not sorry.
No, not really. It's my playstyle.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Don't lie to
If you were
me.
that sorry, you wouldn't do it.
I can't help myself. I mean, I tell you what. Once I've got enough models, right, I'll just play the World Eaters as one army, and then I can't be choosing.
Sorry, I thought that was going to be you're just going to play against yourself from this point on.
I mean,
The only
I
way
could.
to get a challenge now is to play against yourself.
I mean, I probably could. I got the armies for it, but I don't know how fun it'll be. Speaking of elves taking over, shall we see how it goes? There might be a hint of how it goes because we've only got 4 rounds. The battle reaches its breaking point. What began as a calculated assault now unravels. The Night Lords advance faltering as Emonket's warhost tightens its grip on the battlefield. The trap has closed, and now the cost must be paid. Some interesting things happen in this round. Some very cool cinematic moments, actually. Particularly one I'm thinking of. We went for the 4th round because I genuinely believe that there was a chance that something could happen. However, some of the rolls that came up basically meant that a turn 5 was literally pointless. Let's go and see what actually happened, shall we?
The pressure to push forward forces the Night Lords Kratos into the woods, even as the rounds hammer into their rear armour. Their return fire splinters trees and Emperor's Children Terminators alike.
Relatively fine starting opening cabinet. The Kratos pushing forward, trying to escape the Terminators that are in their back line, and they managed to pick off a few wounds. It's all good.
Yeah, go and run into them.
It's all fine. It's all good. It's going to plan.
It's all good. It's all good, yeah.
Or is it?
Amonkhet gathers his sorcerous might, enshrouding his warriors in warp energy before striking critical reactors and sending the remaining Kratos tanks into oblivion.
Kablooey is all I'm gonna say. And it hurts. It hurts so bad. I hate it when tanks blow up. It's like I love my tanks. That's my whole thing, and then they blow up and it makes me sad.
It's those Saturnines. It's those damn Saturnines every time.
I hate them so much that it makes me want them.
I was going to say, you've already requested I paint some at some point.
Yeah, because then I can give Jamie a taste of his own medicine, and then we'll see who's laughing.
I mean, I'm going to hate painting them, but I'm going to love the result, because I reckon they'll look very cool in Night Lord's colours.
Oh, no.
That is true. So I guess getting you to paint them is punishment enough.
I'm assuming during was this around where during the psyche phase you tried to get off the big blast template as you always try to get off?
Maybe.
I think so. Yeah, if I remember rightly.
Just every time you want to bring out that blast template and just watch something explode horribly.
Yeah, it's only happened
It's
once.
fun.
It's
I mean,
only
yeah,
so-
what? Yeah, why would you not want the big blast template? That wasn't a criticism. It was just I know how you think now. You'd be like, if I can get off this blast template, I will get off this blast template.
It's a really cool spell. I want to use it.
It's a very cool spell.
There's another
Exactly.
really cool spell I want to do, but I need some models, which I now have. So thank you.
Yeah.
So eventually there was a couple more cool spells I want to try out, but they require models. But yes, so the Saturnines push forward and do some damage. Let's move on to what I think is probably one of the coolest cinematic sections of this entire game.
The massive mastodons surge forward at full ramming speed.
Oh.
The fell blades have only a moment to react. A shell tears through the lead vehicle, carving into its hull, but the second does not slow.
So I was not expecting a mastodon to charge me, which obviously I obviously immediately overwatched and took one of them out because I got very lucky with my overwatches. But one made it through.
I'm fascinated. What was the thinking?
Because Elves doesn't listen every time I say don't charge with tanks.
I think the thought was that, if I charge this Hellblade, then they're not going to be able to do anything else, and those big guns aren't going to go into anything else. My mastodons were empty, so I was just like, okay, so let's try this.
I mean, what I think is particularly fascinating is the mastodons have so many guns on them.
I know, John.
Infantry
I know.
killing guns that could have helped with objectives.
I know.
But needless to say, as much as it may have been a peculiar decision, it does weirdly pay off.
The charging mastodon slams into the first Fellblade with catastrophic force, its armour buckling as the war engine is crushed beneath it. At the same moment, the Konrad exploit the opening, crashing into the second Fellblade and tearing it apart, dragging its crew from the wreckage piece by bloody piece.
The Mastodon was a battering ram and did take out one of the Fellblades.
I am genuinely surprised by that.
I mean, in fairness, it was already on one wound. It was on one wound, that's the only way it could have happened. But it happened, which obviously then meant when the Konrad came in, they only had to focus the one, which worked out quite nicely.
I think I got lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, I did lose the Fellblades in that final round, which, at this point in time was looking quite impressive. There was still a chance for the Night Lords. You've taken out a massive chunk of my army.
It doesn't last.
As things start to change.
As shells fall around them, the Emperor's children push through the burning woods, cutting down a Night Lord's Praetor and destroying the nearby weapons emplacement. These woods
are saturated in shells, casings, blood, bits of bone.
I think you just give up on that at a certain point. You're just like, you know what? Nah, we're done with this place.
Yeah, but the Night Lords just didn't. They kept trying for it.
Yeah, they really wanted it.
Yep.
But maybe they shouldn't have.
So
He's really passionate about the National Trust.
But no one's more passionate than the Emperor's children, which was the problem. Yeah, the woods were finally taken completely. The Emperor's children literally wiped out the last of the Night Lords and took away the objective, took away the primary objective marker as well. So we were very much now basically losing the capability of scoring, which is where it starts to go wrong.
I've got nothing left. That's what I kept saying. Like, I'm looking at the board and I'm like, where is everything?
Well, at this point, you did still have stuff on the western flank, but
the western flank ignites as a Stormbird unleashes its full arsenal in a single devastating volley. What remains of the Night Lord's armoured assault is reduced to twisted wreckage.
I rolled very hot.
Did you actually hit with those missiles?
Yep.
Oh.
Hey!
Missiles hit, the last cannons hit, the bolters hit.
Everything hit.
Like, you literally saved that last Ram Raider on the skin of your teeth with saving throws. The Stormbird just rolled stupidly hot.
The nature of it, that sometimes you just roll really well.
Yeah, and this was one of those cases. When I really didn't need the luck, I got the luck.
Again, it's one of those things with like Legions that like it does make sense from a point of view of like Stormbird coming in, firing a load of stuff. Like, not really worrying about hitting precise targets, just like making fire down on a big battlefield.
It was just like really annoying because Jamie never rolls well when he plays against me normally. And then all of a sudden, it was just like everything was dying. I was tired. I was just like, I was having my Ian Beale moment where I genuinely was just like, I it was traumatizing. I'm still traumatized by it.
It's difficult because Jamie plays well because of the bad dice rolls, like in spite of the bad dice rolls. And then when he's also getting good dice rolls on top of playing well, pain.
Needless to say, none of them want to play me anymore. I just have to record these episodes now. I don't get to play anymore.
you have Icarused yourself. You've flown too close to the sun and now must burn. And that burning up is you're not allowed to play anymore.
I just paint the models, organise it all, and I just get to watch.
We've doing like a handicap for you, like like in golf, there's like handicaps to bring people who are really good at the game like down to the same skill level as everybody else. I'm not quite sure what the handicap is.
If you want to come up with one, we'll try it.
My suggestion is alcohol. You just have to be wasted before you're allowed to play.
That probably won't help.
No, you just become evil at that stage. I feel.
Let me put it this way. This will be a tiny tangent. I'll make the story quick. During my degree, when I was doing, when we had our final year programming project, my team messaged me while I was out at a nightclub at 4:00 in the morning, having had a lot to drink, and I was solving their programming problem while in the club, while drunk, and my solution worked.
So what you're saying is we just haven't found enough drink yet.
In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Amy has like a drink system. So the more that she drinks, the more unhinged she gets. Jamie is like the opposite. The more Jamie drinks, the more logical he is. So it just doesn't work whatsoever. There is nothing we can do but suffer.
I'm sure there is something you can come up with, but I don't think alcohol's going to work.
No.
Based on experience.
I would like to think that, like, me and Jamie have been together for nearly 6 years now. I would like to think that in all of that time, if there was something, I would have found it already.
Sorry, I've got bad news, Al. The only solution here is lobotomy.
I'm not okay with this.
I am, and I was telling you.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I have no shame then in the final shot.
The Night Lord's last hope collapses as their remaining armigers are caught out of position. A full squad of Death Guard predators finds their rear and unleashes a storm of las cannon fire. Tearing through exposed reactors, nothing survives.
This was the death nail, and after what you just said, I have no shame or apology about it. I buried you, and you deserved it.
I have nothing to say except it hurt a lot, but it's the nature of things. So sometimes you just gotta go.
You forgot how fast my predators moved, didn't you, when you moved those armatures?
I might have, yes. So I mean, realistically, probably should have charged them. It might have given them a little bit more of a. But for some reason, I didn't. It was quite late at night when we were finishing this off, I think. And
needless to say, that was quite literally the final death nail in the coffin.
I actually don't.
It was at that moment that they had lost.
So yes, we did conclude here, mainly because there actually just wasn't physically enough left on the board for you to regain points.
No,
and
there was no viable reason for us to continue on with turn 5.
No, there wasn't really any cool cinematic things that could have happened at this point either, which sometimes this might be worth playing out, but Curze didn't really have that many interesting options to charge into. My commander was off on the other side of the table, so it wasn't even worth doing a final cinematic thing. So the two armies kind of break away at this point, and Curze probably runs away. Not coward, he's supposedly.
He doesn't run away. He retreats to strategize.
Tactical withdrawal.
A tactical withdrawal.
He's just gonna go do some weird stuff in his throne room and brood for a bit whilst he thinks about his next move.
And his Legion are all criminals anyway, so he'll find more.
Well, there's plenty of them around.
Yeah. Even if the Nostromo isn't around anymore, there's still plenty.
Well, we kind of already touched on it, but in the notes, I kind of called out the moment with the Mastodon going through a Fellblade. In my head, I'm just picturing it as like a cinematic scene, and I just think that's peak gameplay.
There is definitely a good amount of like cinema behind it. I'm just imagining those Mastodons like frantically like turning the turret, just seeing this Fellblade just crash through the side of them.
It's just a cool moment, and that's one of the things I like about doing what we're doing is that there are these opportunities to pick out these cool moments. It would be lovely if we had more time to maybe animate some stuff, but I'm telling you now that we don't have the time for that.
The time nor like the skills to do it justice and quickly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could probably do it, but it would take way too long for it to be viable.
Yeah.
But maybe one day we'll get to that stage. But we will certainly try and narrate it for you, and hopefully give you a story to go home.
The story of today is overcommittal leads to death.
In a way, yes. Yes, I see it now. How beautifully it unfolds. The Night Haunter comes screaming from the void, all fury and uncertainty. And he leaves this place as he always must, bleeding, broken, enlightened perhaps. Every step he took, every blow he struck, exactly where it was needed, exactly when it was needed. The threads tighten, the pattern reveals itself. Even now, the ritual deepens. The veil thins further, and still, they think this was a battle, a contest. How small their understanding is. And poor little Gorath, yes, his end was inevitable. Decay is patient, but not always useful. His stubborn resilience, his refusal to yield. It no longer served the design. Now there is space. Space for something more malleable, more aligned. The Death Guard will endure. They always do. But who leads them next? That is where the future shifts. Let them squabble over the corpse. Let them believe it matters. The outcome is already written. The war here is not won by strength, nor by rage, but by those who understand the shape of what is to come. And I have seen it all. This is where we're going to conclude for today. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done. You can hopefully see that there's been a couple of little changes here and there. There are more to come as we're sort of learning how things are going to work, and we're figuring out what works for us. And hopefully, by the time you see this video, we'd love to learn some more stuff by then. But please do comment down below, sort of what you think works, what you think we could improve. Is there something that doesn't quite work that you think might be better? Constructive criticism. Any more thoughts or moments that you guys want to just bring up or mention, whether that's to do with today or future or whatever?
I think I definitely need to get better at having a plan for a game, because that is where I go wrong literally every single time.
And it's probably worth noting as well that you didn't create the list again, this one.
No.
You kind of just grabbed Elle's list and ran with it, and I think that, as you probably mentioned, that might be a flaw in the approach that we had for these first couple of games, is that we didn't enforce the idea that you write the list.
I think there's probably ways of working around it, but that'd be my big thing. Is I need to get better at having a plan, or if I don't have a plan, I need to figure out how I can play around that aspect.
It's also like learning what the individual units do, things, and like, I think, is it the first game you've played that's outside of the city terrain?
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because in the city terrain, the scouting moves are pretty much a no-brainer, really.
They are a lot better in a denser environment.
Yeah.
You got a little bit more safety.
And Vindicators are a good means of distracting Jenny. Just gotta use them as a distraction.
And it'll probably work, because I do fear them.
Just gotta use them to pull you in a particular direction. I think that was where I was going wrong. Okay, you gotta come over this way.
I mean, it might work one day.
It's like back in our first games where you always bought the Dreadnought and you knew that I would just overcommit to taking that down.
Sometimes you can learn from your opponent just their little quirks, and sometimes you can use that to your advantage. Or in my case, I would tell you what mine are, and then you still won't listen.
It won't matter. There's too many things going on at the same time.
I need to get my alpha news right.
Oh no, my head already hurts.
Oh yeah, let's not go into armies. I've got way too many already, and I've already got plans for more. I think, unless anyone's got anything else particularly want to say.
The only thing that I wanted to say was that I think I might take John's advice and split the Vindicators into 2 groups, because that actually does sound like a good idea. So yeah, that's my closing statement.
And I rest my case.
What's better than 1 distraction card effects? 2 distraction card effects.
Might do. Or it might make them less appealing for me to target.
Well, at least then I'd be able to use them properly.
Yeah.
You might get a shot off.
Have some faith.
Yeah.
Well, on that bombshell, maybe we'll see some Vindicator action soon. I know we will, but we'll see. That is it for today's episode, but we do want to hear from you, as I've already said. Please do comment down below any thoughts, feedback, improvements, and also let us know what your favourite moment was from the show. Was there a moment that we could have spent more time on, or was there something you spotted in one of our larger shots that maybe you would have liked to have seen up close? Let us know down below in the comments, and while you're down there, please don't forget to check that you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and also go and check out all our various social media channels, where you can also send us your images of your hobby, which we would like to feature on our Tankard Talk monthly shows, of which currently there's only one, but there is another one coming up very soon, so please do get some shots in sooner rather than later so I can edit them in. But that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time in the Mead. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
There.